Some 70 years ago, Dr. King stood on these steps in the shadow of the great emancipator and said that America has not lived up to its promise, that this country had given black people a bad check and it came back marked insufficient funds. But Dr. King never lost his faith in the bank of justice. I was in the crowd that day. I was just a baby, but my mother, Sylvia, drove me and my brother from Denver to D.C. to witness history and feel the power of the moment and the power of the movement. That movement has driven remarkable progress, allowing Black Americans to break barriers and build businesses, go to space, and even occupy the Oval Office. And we've done the quiet work that's just as important. We're business owners, entrepreneurs, teachers and preachers, soldiers and scientists, farmers and firefighters, all shaping this country and its future. But the truth is, Black Americans are still held back, marginalized by public institutions and private corporations alike. Yes, we elected a president, but what happened to our voting rights? Yes, there are Black millionaires and a few Black billionaires, but our economy is still structured to keep profits and power out of the hands of Black folks. The average white family has 12 times more wealth than the average Black family, a gap that has widened over the last 30 years, and it will take us over 500 years to close that gap at this current rate. That's not an American dream. It's an American nightmare, and a result of centuries of discrimination. Yet since the first kidnapped Africans were brought here in chains, and no, not part of a skills-building program, we have sought to forge our human fortitude into an indelible place of relevance, belonging, and ownership of America. Dr. King knew that economic rights were the key to true equality, and he once asked, what does it profit a man to be able to eat at an integrated lunch counter if he doesn't earn enough money to buy a hamburger and a cup of coffee? His moral calls for economic justice are what I want to talk about today. Because as we stand here, the war on diversity and inclusion threatens all of the progress we made through the sacrifices of our ancestors. As we honor the legacy of Dr. King, we must expand our focus to include economic justice. That's why I paid off the student and Parent Plus loans of those 400 Morehouse graduates in 2019. To invest in the limitless potential of our next generation. And you know what? It's working. Overcoming systemic oppression requires systemic investment. It takes more than a paycheck. It takes power and ownership. Growing up, my neighborhood didn't have a single bank, and that's true for most Black people, limiting their ability to buy homes and start businesses. 4 out of 10 Black homes and 4 out of 5 HBCUs don't have reliable and affordable high-speed broadband internet. Without access to the critical infrastructure of American capitalism, Black people will always be symbolic sharecroppers, impoverished tenants working someone else's land. Progress depends on every American's dream. Dr. King built a coalition with our Jewish brothers and sisters and Latino neighbors. This year, we're joined by our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander brothers as well. Prosperity for all will only come when we have equality of opportunity for all. The business community must also step up and build the best talent pipeline and invest in education for all Americans and stand strong in the face of racist backlash. We cannot abandon actions that promote diversity. It's time to fully embrace it, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because the data proves that diversity boosts innovation, productivity, and profits. Closing the racial wealth gap would increase economic activity in this country by more than $1.5 trillion each year. Equality is good for the American economy. Our higher principles of racial equity are great for the bottom line. And to echo the great Quincy Jones and Ray Charles, our self-worth must not depend on the acceptance of others. We are enough. We are enough to make our votes count, to hold our politicians accountable, to represent our interests, and to make sure that public resources are equitably distributed. We are enough to ensure our water is safe to drink, and we are enough to grow, harvest, and distribute nutritious food for our children and our elders. We are enough to enhance Black maternal health, diagnose and treat our sick, and bring mental wellness to those who need it, and not just let the justice system treat them as criminals. We are enough to educate our children in the truth of the past and enable them to embrace the opportunities of the future. We are enough to make our communities safe, beautify our neighborhoods, and create wealth through the ownership of our homes and businesses. We are enough to teach our children that they can live in ways that make God's glorious planet thrive with our presence, rather than wither and withstand our abuse. Even in the face of massive injustice, we have proven over and over again that the conscious divine intelligence has enabled us to be resilient, resourceful, and that we are bound only by the limits of our own conviction. We are enough to build the future, to grow our wealth and make sure that Black Americans thrive and America thrives. We are enough to enable our sons and daughters to be enough, to fulfill the dream that is the idea and the promise of America. Yes, we are enough. It is up to us to build the economic infrastructure that ends the racial wealth gap, speaking with our dollars, our voices, and our votes. We owe it to our kids to keep bending the arc of history. We owe it to the memory of those who came before and the dreams of those who come next. We owe it to the movement we continue today. And may God bless the shared future that we build tomorrow.